Bo, to your left, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Some guys in the locker room after were saying that you play the best in big moments. What is it about the big moments that you rise to that occasion and play your best?
The guys around me do the same. Thought the skill guys, they balled today, and I thought our O-line played as good as they have played, since I've been here. They kept me completely clean. They battled their butt off. They played with great tempo. They knocked them, around as best they could, and I thought our guys responded because of it. We were able to get open, find some completions. 4 different guys with a touchdown. Bandy with his first. That was, awesome to see, especially getting us going like that and having the first one of the day. And then just having 4 different guys score big touchdowns like that is huge. Being able to score points and not kick field goals is, in a game like that, that's usually the difference maker.
Bo, obviously you guys clinched a playoff berth. Maybe talk about that. But then, you've got bigger things ahead of you. Maybe talk about that as well and winning your 11th straight.
Yeah, this was our first goal. We wanted to get to the playoffs. That's the only way to get further is to make the tournament. So we're excited about that. That was goal number 1. We were able to accomplish that tonight. And then this next week, it's going after goal number 2, and that's worrying about our next opponent and finding a way to get the best out of our season and get the best situation in the postseason. So we're I feel like every week it's the most important game. It's the next best game, and this is next most important game. So this is a big week for us, and we got to continue to find ways to execute, win games, no matter what it looks like. And I thought tonight overall it was an effective game for us.
Bo, going back to the Certan pick, you guys had just gone 3 and out. What sort of emotional swing was that for you guys? And then obviously led to the touchdown. Did that feel like a turning point?
Yeah, it was huge. I think a play like that gets, any sudden turnover, just get some adrenaline, get some emotion back in the game. They come out and score. We go 3 and out. It wasn't a great start to the third quarter. Normally we don't have that bad of starts in the third quarter, but he went after that football, got it, and that's when I felt like it kind of started falling back on our side. The momentum did, and it got the crowd back into it. And when our crowd's going, it's a really hostile environment. It's tough to play in for an opponent.
Okay.
You just answered a lot of that, but as a man who appreciates a receiver that will go up and get a 50-50 ball, talk about the technique that Pat showed on laying out to get that interception.
Yeah, we may have to use him on offense some. I'm just kidding. I think he's one of the best players in the league for a reason, and he showed it on that play. He's had some ups and downs this season. He's battled through it, and that was a Pat Surtain play right there. Not many can make it, and he's one of the ones that do. And big-time players make big plays in big moments, and that was a big moment, and he went and got it. Ball was up in the air. A lot of guys panic. A lot of guys struggle in that situation. He went right after the football, played it like a receiver, and it was awesome to see. Great for our defense. They needed that turnover, and they got it. They've been really working on that, working towards it, and they got that, and then that allowed Riley to get one later. And I thought those guys going after the football in the air, after entering the challenge, after a couple pass completions in the first half, they really played well in the second half. Didn't give up much. They were very stingy. Got after the passer and were able to deflect some footballs and not give up many pass yards. So I thought as a defense, Pat's a leader on our team, and he set the tone for that second half.
But Sean talks a lot about the way to win any given game, and obviously it's stylistically a lot different last week to this week for you guys. How much of your growth as you play longer and longer in the NFL is about sort of understanding that and then figuring out ways to capitalize on however the game is unfolding in front of you?
It's everything. Every game has a different story. Every play has another one. And I was able to learn in college that you're not going to win the game in one play. You're not going to win the game in one quarter. You got to piece it all together. And it may look ugly at times, but it really doesn't matter. And there's always a way to win the game. There's always a way at the end to win a game. There's always a way at the beginning. So you have to figure that out. And as a team, I think that's just what makes really good teams. They together they figure out the way and they just go out there and do it. And for us, we continue to prove over and over our defense is going to play stout when we need them. They're going to get stop after stop. And, as an offense, we continue just to have to score points when it's most important to score points. And our special teams just keep playing solid and hold us all together. So I think as a team, we're playing as good as I think we could play right now. And that's really important to do it at the end of the year.
Bo, back here to your right. Have you talked with your mom? Is she fired up that her prediction was correct that you guys won?
I haven't talked to her yet. I talked to her on the way here. I shouldn't say I talked. She talked a lot to me on the way here. And, I got the whole rundown, got to catch up for a second. And she was excited. She was, my mom always thinks that we're going to have the best chance. And, she always just wants us to go out there and have a good time and stay healthy. And, we were able to do that today. And, exciting time to be a Bronco right now. And, that was just another game on our journey to where we want to go.
Final two, Brandon and Brady.
Yeah, Bo, you talked about it a little bit on Wednesday with the expectation of the crowd. Kind of describe how the atmosphere felt to you down there, with the crowd, with the magnitude of the game, with the opponent, all of it.
At the end of the game, when it's time to be loud, I thought it was really good. It was really good atmosphere. One of those last fourth downs, I just remember thinking, wow, it's pretty electric in here. It feels like a playoff environment. And, that's why playing at home in the playoffs is so important. That's why playing at home in itself is important, man. You get the crowd behind you. You get, a good road environment for a team that comes in here and plays. It's not easy and or fun at times. So the crowd is pretty much like an extra player out there for us, and that's a big part of the game. And thankful for the crowd like we have. Very thankful for this opportunity to play in front of a great organization and a great crowd. I know it hasn't been, necessarily the last several years, but this organization's tradition of being tough to play at, being at Mile High, it's like no other. So, I'm really excited to see more and more of that, and the hostility just get better and better.
Bo, Sean said you have a competitive nature that's just really refreshing. Even he mentioned you smiling when you guys are down. Do you think the more success you've been able to have has allowed your kind of personality to shine through?
I think so. I think at the same time, personality can also show in the tough times. I appreciate Coach for letting me be my authentic self, and I appreciate him for letting me be competitive. And he hasn't taken that fire away from me. I think together we're just working really well off of each other. He just trusts me, and I can tell by the way he's calling it, and then my job is to turn around and protect him and keep his call safe. And we talk about play caller intent a lot as a quarterback room, and take the intent, what does he want out of this play, and then at the end of the day you got to protect it. And so I feel like it's only year two, but I think the more and more reps that I'm able to get, with him in my ear during games, it's just been, we've been able to grow. We've been able to develop with each other. And, it's not easy for him after, so long with one consistent quarterback who was absolutely dominant in this league to take, a younger guy and, trust him. It's hard, but I really appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity that he's given me. And, I think together we got something going right now. And, I thought at the same time he's extremely competitive himself. So I always wanted that. It's just a coach that was going to compete for me, compete with me, and go out there and just let me play. And that's what he does. And, I think it's working, and we're going to continue to find ways to make it work even more.